Oh baby, look what we have here. Let's see what we got here today. Ooh, look at that. That's a thing of beauty right there. We have a Tec Van ladder tire carrier, rear door ladder thingy for a Mercedes Sprinter van, and it's gonna go obviously on the back of this van. The problem I got right now, the things we're gonna have to do, those hinges are not acceptable for this ladder. I do have a set of 180 hinges. They are white, so I'm gonna have to paint them blue-gray. I'll probably do that tonight and get them ready. And I think we'll get this ladder on. It's supposed to be nice weather this weekend. We'll get this installed. It should be a fairly straightforward install. I don't want to jinx it, knock on wood, but basically get your hinges in, and then there's 2 screws right in this area. You got to drill through the door. That's the scary part, but we've drilled so many holes into this van at this point. I 50% believe in us. Good afternoon to YouTube. Happy little Saturday here, and big day. This is a big day today. Ladder day. We got a little break in the weather. I put some 180 hinges on this door, swapped them from the 270s this week. Had to custom paint them. The ones I got were white, and now they're matched the color of the van. So that's good. And we're gonna put on this Tec Vanlife ladder. It's currently upside down, but yeah, pretty pumped for this. Now I can get up onto the roof with ease. Maybe put some solar panels in there. What do you think of that? So I will say, this is a pretty friggin' sweet ladder. It's I don't have a spare tire yet, but that's where your spare tire goes, and I've got the extra parts for that. But yeah, it's just a really well thought out, really well made ladder. Props to Tec Van on the ladder. The instructions to install it are pretty subpar, but the quality of this product is, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. Like the way the steps jump out a bit, they got grips on them. You got even tie downs here if you need to do stuff. It is a good looking product. So tools you're gonna need for today, I've got them all laid out here. This is what comes with the box. It's a real nice box, and it's all soaked now in garbage, but you get these 2 rubber bumpers, and these go on these mounting pins. Now these are the 2 holes that you're going to have to drill. These go on here on the exterior, and then the screws go through, and you'll be having access to put your nuts on in there. So you got these 2 rubber gaskets. You end up with 6 nuts. So you got 4 bolts, and that's for your 2 for each hinge. And then 2 of these extras are going to be for the bolts that are inside the door. And actually, gotta make sure I've got the right ones. Just thinking about it now, you're going to need a deburring tool because you're going to drill holes. I've got a bunch of cobalt bits here, and I'm just going to work my way up. On their instructions, it says you need an 11 30-second drill bit. It's just not big enough. It's just wrong, straight up wrong. So I can go up to a 1/2 inch drill bit. I've got a 3/8 in here and was able to kind of widen it and spin it around and get that going, so that's okay. I do have a step bit if needed, so you may need up towards 1/2 inch is probably excessive, ideally 7/16. You need like a socket, so the person inside the van can sit with a socket, and that ends up being a 15 mil for these bolts. And then the person on the outside, I've got my impact driver, and I'm going to drive these bolts from the outside while Samantha holds this on the inside just to get them snug. And then these 2 mounting plates, it's pretty obvious where they go. This square one goes in, here we go, I'll do that with the camera. So they go in here, and that one. And then this little one here goes up and fits up in yonder. My hand is out of the way. So that's what you're looking at. So there's that, and then you're going to need to drill. They don't tell you anywhere to mount it. They just say put your thing here and do whatever, line up with the license plate. And it's like, well, the measurement would be nice, but your holes are going to end up somewhere in here. And there's a double sheet of metal on this side that you'll drill through. Oh yeah, you're going to need some paper towel, and you're going to need some paint. You're going to need a marker too, just to mark out your holes. And that's basically it. So let's get this thing installed. So first thing you do before you get the ladder installed, take your 2 rubber dues and get them started on your bolts. Now don't put them all the way down. So my logic on this is, because you need to know where these go on the door. So if you put them on and expose the bolts, now you risk the chance of these bolts scraping on your door while you're holding the ladder up. So leave the rubber there so the door can rub. You know, you can hit rubber on the door because it's kind of precarious. You have to get these 2 plates onto the hinge first, get it lined up, and then map these out. So these will just be flopping all around against the side of your door. So protect it with this rubber, and then that's why I put the tape here as well, just out of protection. And then I'll get the rubber back, trace around the bolts, and then I'll know where to drill. Once I know where to drill, I'll let you know the measurements actually on where it goes and give you a good idea. I presume that they should all be the same for all sprinters like this, but I don't know. They don't give you a measurement. Like, to me, it just seems like you drill these 2 holes. So I don't know if it's just differences within fabrication or where I don't know. So just tolerances in hardware and doors, that could be the logic on that. It just seems like this would be a thing where it should be pretty straightforward on kind of where it goes, but I don't know. It's my first time. I will do my best to film this install, but it's kind of precarious because if you've watched any of my videos, I live on a hill in an alleyway. So I've got the tripod set up. It should be fairly close. This will be the angle. It gives you an idea. Be nice. You need the door open at least like this. You might even be able to do it the full 180 open, but obviously I can't do that given where I live and what I'm working with. But we'll get her done. It's going to be great. Here goes nothing. Ready?
I guess so.
Okay. Just like we discussed. Up you go. Okay, now let's do the bottom. Okay, go. Now we got to see if it's lined up. Whoop, hold on, let's get this car through. Always with the mouth open, eh? All right, let's just see. So, I think we got to go forward a bit. You see how we're hitting that bumper? So this moves.
Do you want to try closing it up?
Yeah. That looks good for holes.
I think it looks good. Is something in the way?
Oh yeah.
What's wrong?
That.
Does that stop it from closing?
Are these bolts on the outside? Is that what's happening here? Oh, I see what's happening. Okay, well, we did that wrong.
Oh, because then there's no room for it to close. We're done. Hey, dum-dum. Okay, undo.
Okay, so I'll just show you this. Just instructions and shit. So we had the bolts going through the back, like this way. Well, with your washer and nut here, yeah, you can't. It hits that. You can't close. So you've got to go with your bolts through that way. You see? Like smart people. And then on the outside, you'll have your nut.
I have an idea.
Okay, we swapped the bolts, and this is what we've got on lining up. Here's what we've got on the hinges. I think I'm gonna cut this because the door doesn't open to 180 now. It just gets to like 162. So I think I'm just gonna chop this down and then just paint it. Not a big deal. And then the door can go back to the full 180. And they'll do that. There's a bunch of scratches up here now. But as far as lining up, it looks good. In their instructions, it says line it up with the license plate. It does have a little slant. We'll fix that. But this gives you an idea on hole locations. So I'll measure down when I drill the holes. But yeah. So no scratches. All right. Holes are mapped out. We got that. That's where we're looking. Once we get the ladder rack off, so if we back up, there's what we're looking like against the license plate. Looks pretty even. This here is like centered in the bolt. We're as far as we can go over on this one. So I don't know if it's just, these are just play within each ladder rack. That's where we're at. This, I'm going to cut this back maybe 1/4 inch so the door can get open to 180. But everything works. Oh yeah, maybe I should have closed the other door before. There we go. Everything closes. Looks good. Between the bees and the birds. There we go. Oh, you can't see anything. It's always the sun shining when I'm doing these videos. Okay, there we go. Let's remove this thing and get some holes drilled. Okay, for your reference, these are the measurements I have. Now there's different ways to measure it. So I measured from the bottom. I put my tape measure on the bottom of this door. This bottom hole, I'm at 17.5 inches to center. The spacing between the bolts on my rack was 1 11/16. So you just make sure that this spacing for you is what the bolts are. That's pretty darn important. Every person's ladder could be different, but I'm 1 11/16 center to center. Now the other way to do it is you measure down from the stamping thing here on for the logo. Right in this corner, I measured down into this whole center was 5.5. So that gives you that. And from the edge of the body, I'm about 11/16 to center. So that's where I'm looking at. And inside, there's a solid, the structure goes into here. So you're well within the double steel on the interior of that door. In their instructions online, it does say to be careful. There is your door unlock cable in there. Mine's pretty far back, so I'm not going to worry too much about drilling through. I did set up a tape trap. You can't see it, but I did on the outside as well to catch any metal bits. So set up yourself a little tape trap. It's a little awkward on the one in here, but I can assure you there it is. If you can see it. There we go. So yeah, they're drilling in there. So just be mindful of this. On the larger hole, I think I might end up just using my step bit, and then you probably won't punch through too far anyway. If you don't have a step bit and you're doing these, it's not a bad idea to have a drill stop. So whether you use a little piece of plastic tube to stop the drill bit from going all the way in, or you have an actual drill stop and just attach it to the bit to prevent it from going in and hitting that cable. Holes drilled, paint drying. There we go. 2 holes in the old door. Should line up, able to punch those in. I ended up, when I got to I didn't film it, but I got to the 11/32 and the metal really wanted to grab and bend. So I ended up getting the outside hole, because there's a bit of a gap. So when you're drilling, you'll get through the first layer, and then you got a bit of a gap before you hit the second layer. The first layer really wants to bend because you're like right at the edge and it's really thin. I stopped and I did a step bit. Now the problem with the step bit, especially this one for so big, your outside hole will be a lot bigger if you try to keep going through to that second layer, because it's not technically one piece because of the gap between the two pieces of steel. So I kind of got the first one where it was nice and clean, and then I drilled backwards, oddly enough. So you got your drill in reverse and you just kind of work your way up, and it'll start to catch and just get through, and then you're not going to catch and go through the steel quite as wonky. So one little trick or thing that you could do. All right, install time. The paint is dryish after 4 coats. We know how to put the things in. Ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Guide those. Okay, here, watch.
Yeah, hard.
Yep, that's fine. Okay, now go to the brackets.
You want me to do the top or the bottom first?
Whatever you prefer.
This is the tops.
Still not enough. Or did we? I think we need to move the whole thing over.
Yeah, it's not in the right spot right now. There's still a lot of movement up there.
Or are we stuck on the hole?
That's
Okay, loosen this bottom one. Grind more.
for why though? Can you?
Because the
It's like barely touching.
top, or I guess the top tapered it, so.
What happens when you let go of the door? It doesn't say.
Yeah. It's weird though.
And then you can see where it's hitting right there.
Okay, so what I think. Back it out, rip it out. I'm gonna grind that thing back. I wonder if I can. Actually, I got an idea.
Okay.
Hold on. Abort. Things took a major halt. So we got the door in. I started grinding this down so we could get it a little more to 180. That's fine. I scratched the hinge a little bit. Not a big deal. We can get the, well, to that point. I don't know why the design is that you can't now open your door to 180. It doesn't say in the instructions. Now the next big issue. So the whole location. Look at where these geniuses designed that bolt. So A, does the bolt need to be that fucking long? And it's right at the, you couldn't put that in a worse location. I can't get this on. You can't get the thing on. So now I'm going to have to loosen the whole door, back the bolts out a bit, get the bolts started. Back at her, folks. Okay, it's now Monday. The other video is doing this ladder run Saturday. There was a lot of working until the dark, and I didn't bother filming. But the ladder is on. And overall, she's a great looking ladder. It's stable. I can get up to the roof. What I wish I had have done, and I could probably still adjust it, I think this ladder should be that way a little bit. Now I could widen the holes. I don't really want to do it, but so when I was doing the measurements, I was talking about 11/16, maybe go 13/16 to potentially 7/8 from the edge over. The heights are fine. Everything lines up. Looks good against the license plate. Everything looks fine. But just a thing. So there was some, I ended up getting the bolt on. Challenges with the top bolt because it lines up with the latch up there. I had to loosen the entire ladder, pull the bolts out a bit, get the nut started, and then push it back in. That's fine. I just, why? Anyway, overall, happy with the product. It is a really nice ladder. It's a good looking ladder. It looks right. It matches all the other things on the van. So overall, happy. Of course, there would be challenges with installation because, by golly, there always is. Yeah. Anyway, this is a Tec Vanlife ladder install, and hope some of this information helps. And I recommend the ladder itself. Just be aware on some of these things in installation. Thanks for watching.